Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. Busy show today, a bit of a special show today. I'm going to get to that in a second, though. We are going to lead with Apple. It's sort of the news of the day. Today is their big product release day, so we're going to talk about that and the trading in the stock leading up to today, what it might do and what it might do going forward. We're going to talk about this crazy move in VTL this morning. I don't know if you saw that, but man, I'm sorry if you're in that one. Yesterday, they had one drug. It looks like it failed. That is the move on that, or the reason for that move today. A lot of analyst action as well. We had Micron catching a downgrade, Snapchat catching a downgrade, Alcoa and Tiffany were upgraded. So a lot to discuss in ratings land. I mentioned we're going to do a little bit of a special show today. What's going to happen is we're going to go from 8 to 9 like we normally do. And 9, Joel is going to, I guess we'll call it ticker time. Joel's going to hang out with you guys, take some tickers, take some questions from the chat from 9 to 9:15 or so. And then at 9:15, we're going to bring on Sean Udall to run us, I guess, up until the open. So we got a nice long show, plenty of time to get to all your questions today. Joel, let's start off. What is happening in the overnight session?
Sean may be able to take us through the close too.
Oh gosh,
we could just ask him like one question, and then no, Sean's a great guy. We're gonna get some of his insight into the markets here. Trading range in the S&Ps persist here for the last let's call it last 6 sessions, including today. We've been in a trading range from 28.65, a couple lows in that area, up to 28.93. 28.93 matched the high from last Thursday. Your pre-market high 95.25. So tight range here ahead of the rollover in the S&Ps. We'll be going to the D's contract tomorrow. A lot of times you see this position squaring up on the rollover. Crude continues to run here up 67 cents. Your high is 70.14. Made most of that move after hours yesterday, holding on to those gains. Not much resistance until you get up. I believe it's to 71.40 was your September 4th high. Gold, I don't even know if I'm going to continue to talk about gold here. Down 360 at 1198.60. Silver in the red by a little over a penny here at 14.14. And Bitcoin, just looking at the futures, SIBO futures down $10 at 62.15. Triple D here in a fast market. How you doing this morning?
Fast market, a lot of trades, a lot of overnight trades, lots of action, lots of ratings changes here today, lots of news here today. So that is why I'm in a fast market. We know I love trading the news. Lots of individual stock news there. The analysts were really busy here overnight, but you want to start with this VTL story because this thing's pretty crazy.
All right, so here's a story on VTL. They have one drug in the pipeline. VTL 308 is that drug, and it failed to achieve both its primary and secondary endpoints of improvement in survival. The company said in the release that they don't see any path to approval in the U.S. or the EU, so they're going to cease any further development of this system and explore strategic options. But thanks to all who participated.
So basically it's dead.
Yes.
And you can see it's down 89% here today. So you might get some short covering stuff here, but it looks like this story is pretty much over. So, and that's the problem with these one-trick ponies. And I've been talking for a while on my KRYS position, which has been going very well. It was up another $1 yesterday. They have their drug news. You're saying coming, Spencer, at the end of the fourth quarter.
Q4. I don't have an exact date.
Q4. So somewhere October, November, December, we're going to get some news. I mean, if for whatever reason those trials don't look good, you can see the stock get absolutely killed. Lose like 75 or 80%. But if it goes well, the stock could double, triple, quadruple. So they're lottery tickets is what these smaller companies are, especially when they only have one drug. You almost need, and most of the time they don't work out, you almost need like a little portfolio of them. That's why it's nice to stay diversified. And we've obviously have some of our biotech guys on the show that have those funds, that have the diversified portfolio of the smaller ones, because one company can really get you. So stay diversified when you're trading these small biotechs, speculative capital only, and diversified, I would say. On the KRYS, we're supposed to get the obviously the results are at least of the first people who are in the trial there sometime in the fourth quarter. So I'm thinking I might actually sell half before. So then I'm completely playing with the house's money because I bought this at $10. It's over a double for me now. I think there's more meat on the bone here. The thing is hot here right now. I think speculation as they come in, get closer to maybe those dates. Maybe we get an actual date, but I think before, the date comes, we get a range of the date, I think I probably will lighten up the position, but it's been a great one.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this VTL here and I'm looking at the press release and I remember, on Pro here, I'm looking at 3 paragraphs and I can't even tell what it's for, what this drug was for. So, and the reason I mentioned that is sometimes, because obviously with this thing here, you're buying a lottery ticket if you buy it at 70 cents here. Are there other companies in the sector that are going to benefit from this? And I don't know. I don't even know what the trial was. You know me, it's down 70, trading at 70 cents. If I had a short position here, why not bring it in? Big volume trading up near nearly 5 million shares, new all-time low.
The story's over.
If you buy it here, the most you can lose is 70 cents.
Well, you may be speculating that, hey, maybe they will find some type of a path. There's always going to be the people that are speculating. But if you're buying it here, and this is the problem, is a lot of people come here and say, well, this was a $30 stock. It's now a 70-cent stock. How much can I lose? Okay, well, you can lose 70 cents, but you can also lose 100% of your money. So if you throw $10,000 in it at $30 or $10,000 in it at $70 and the thing goes to zero, you're just as bad a shape as the guy that bought at $30. You lost all your money. You lost your 10 grand. So that's what you got to remember is when these things go down, people get attracted and they say, oh, it was $6 yesterday. It's going to come back. I tell you, folks, most of the time these things do not come back. And it doesn't sound like this one really has any hope of coming back from what Spencer was saying. So forget about the $6, forget about $5, forget about $4, forget about $3, forget about $2. Things a 70-cent stock now and probably on its path to zero. So
KRYS.
it's tough. Now, can it bounce back? It can, but most of the time they don't.
I mean, they thank people in the trial and they're looking at strategic alternatives. I think there's one strategic alternative for them, and and it's not a good one. Just mentioning your KRYS from yesterday, it tripled its volume from 46,000 to almost 140,000 yesterday. So that's the one thing I was not looking at it on the short side. I still think buyers are coming in. You better find out the exact date that they're supposed to release that, because that's
Spencer, I'm putting you on that. Find me a date when you can. Do your research. I don't think sometimes they give an exact date.
Yes, they don't always give an exact date. That's what's hard about these things.
And it's kind of early in the KRYS. Like I did obviously some research on it. I own the company, but it's still very early in their trials too. Like they only have a few people in it so far. It's just early. The disease that they are fighting, there is no cure for it. So if they can come up with anything that even helps, it could be a big money maker for them. So that's why it's wild card. It's a skin disease, and I saw pictures, and this is unbelievable. People are born with the skin disease, and it causes like your skin to blister and bleed. And it is an awful disease, and it kills people. Like your life expectancy with this disease, I think they said is 35 years old when you're born with it. So people are fighting this their whole life. It's a horrible disease. It affects something like 1 in 30,000 people. I forget what the name of the disease is, but it's horrible. And that's why, there is no cure. So if Crystal Biotech can come up with something awesome for the world, awesome for all those people, I really hope for that sake that they do. But it's been a difficult one to find a cure for. So if you're playing this just on that speculation, it's speculative capital only, because you don't know if their drug is going to work.
Okay. We got other news besides the biotechs and
analysts busy here, Joel. I think we should just go into the analyst ratings because they are chasing price all over the place today. Spencer, Israel, where would you like to go?
Oh man.
Come on. There's a million good ones.
You want to start with NXPI? I mean,
let's go. Right. Let's do it.
NXPI downgraded today. One of several downgrades from Stifel Nicholas. They're downgrading NXPI from hold to sell, lowering their price target from $99 to $84.
And what other ratings did they have too?
They also downgraded POWI and MXIM, both buy to hold. And they're downgrading MTSI, MTSI to sell.
I always find it interesting when CNBC Fast Money has somebody on there, and NXPI last night was trading up $1 because the analysts that came on there. Oh, actually, no, it was Kramer. I was on Kramer. Sorry. It was on Kramer. It was featured on Mad Money, NXPI, and was trading up almost $1 there last night because Kramer was talking with the CEO from NXPI. And here, Stifel downgrades it in their face. So everybody who bought it on Kramer last night at 90.5 is not only down $1.24 here this morning, they're down $2.24 because this thing was trading very actively last night. I don't know who just buys these things up because the CEO comes on Mad Money. It seems like a dumb reason to buy a stock. But anyways, they do. So, and a lot of times I do fade those moves. There was an extra headline last night, though, where they had some numbers and some NXPI actually had broke some numbers there going forward, too. It was a small headline, and then that spooked me, so I didn't put it on. Usually I fade those Kramer pops, but I didn't last night, so I'm kicking myself for not fading it because I got spooked out on some. I think it was even an older headline, but I got spooked out on it, and I would have been up solidly here this morning. So just moral of the story is, if you're buying a stock, if you're watching Mad Money, Kramer gives some great stock tips. He's good. I think he's one of the best people, if not the best person on CNBC. So he knows his stuff. He does very well. But when you're buying something up $1 because Kramer's talking about it, you're chasing, like he's his influence, and he's not meaning to influence it. He's pushing the price up. When the real liquidity comes in the next day, a lot of times these stocks don't go to where they were. So all I'm saying is, don't just go because it's Mad Money and, okay, Kramer's tied as the CEO on, so I'm going to buy it up $1. This is what happens to you. And this morning, those people are all getting burned.
All right, trading at the lows, just off the lows of the pre-market session, down $1.26 at 88.31. This stock, who was hot after this? Qualcomm for a while, and you got a couple pops, and it's just one thing when you have a stock in play, and there's question about whether or not it's actually going to go through. Man, when you get those pops, I mean, geez, you got a couple opportunities to sell that thing over $120. I don't know who was playing.
Well, not only that, there was a story that broke, I believe. I don't know who broke it, but I think it was from Reuters or somebody that said that when it got to $124, the amount of money they were supposed to get was $128. They said the deal was approved in China. And then it came out and I was, oh no, we jumped the gun. It's not approved here. And then we know it didn't get approved. So, I mean, it actually was a story that broke. I can remember. You remember that, Spencer? Somebody broke a story, and I don't remember if it was Reuters or whatever, that says this is going to get approval here in the next couple days. And it was from a credible source like Reuters. And they were wrong. And they were way wrong. And anybody who bought that up there at 124 killed. Down to $89, $88 here now. So it's when these things get up within $3-4 of their takeout price, I ring the register too. So great point, Joel.
Okay. All right. And not trading at the low of the move, though. So if you're looking for a little bit more on the short side, you had a low at 86.67. And that was on August 15th. So not even a month ago, you traded at that level. You're still $1.60 away from there. So that's all keep an eye on. 88's the pre-market low, so you have to take care of that first. But low of the move, NXPI, 86.67.
And they're all chasing price. They're in the gutter. We know analysts chase price. They're chasing like crazy on these semis here right now. When the dust settles, are these things going to eventually rebound? Yeah, but it's so difficult for these stocks to come back because analysts keep ganging up on them. No better example than Micron. PE be damned, it doesn't matter. Valuation, if it's trading multiple of 4 or 3 or whatever it is, it doesn't even matter because the stock is in the gutter, and every analyst, there's all these analysts with buy ratings on the thing, and they're all look out to lunch, and they're all cleaning it up right now. Micron got downgraded yesterday, and it's getting downgraded again here today. So we see over 3 points coming off the price of the stock just because analysts chasing price here the last couple of days. Today, it is Goldman downgrading Micron here. So, I mean, and there's a few analysts out there, I think, still with $100 price targets on this. So they're correcting. And you know what? Whoever that $35 price target on Micron had that a lot of people were making fun of there a few months ago is starting to look pretty right. He was the one bucking the trend. Do we know who that was, Spencer? Who put the $35 price target on Micron when it was 55? And everybody said, what is he doing?
That was UBS. And
that
was back in April.
Props to the UBS analyst there because it's looking like that's where it's going. And I own this stock in my investment portfolio. I put it in there as a value play. It's obviously been a value trap. hasn't been a good one. Again, I have 100 stocks in my portfolio. They're not all going to be good. And I know the way I talk all the time, because I always talk about my losers. I'm like the person that always talks about my losers. I don't talk about my winners. Everybody probably thinks, man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing at all. But I do have some winners in that portfolio too. They're not all losers, but I like to complain about my losers on a daily basis. Complain about Micron yesterday. I'll complain about it again here today. It's been a dog.
And Sean talked about this one, and Grant Wilkerson's pointing that out. He was on the other side of that trade, and he said a lot of these chip stocks are
right.
cyclical. So we'll see what Sean has. He'll be coming on at 9:15 today if you want to catch that. Pre-market low at 41.44. That's eclipsing the low of the move, the former low of the move at 42.35. So if you're looking for a gap fill, that would fulfill that at 42.35. 43.60 was a close. I'm sure a lot of the buy the dippers, at least from yesterday. Or another thing that's catching people here is like a lot of people were thinking, maybe we have a triple bottom here. We had a low at 44.06 and then a couple lows in the other $44 handle. So people trapped in that as well. Beyond the pre-market low is 41.44. I'd look for half and whole numbers. If you're shorting here, well, you're going with the short-term trend here, but always could be some short-term rallies in any stock that's getting beat up like this. 37.52 was your low in February. Don't think we will see that today, and not worth a wager. But Dennis, I've had a note here from the last couple of days. I know this is really off the subject, but I did get you another lunch. I believe it was the end of last week on GIII. Remember that?
You got me on that? We never even looked at it. What was the bet? I don't remember the bet on that one.
It was like 49.
Close over or something.
It was closing over 49.25.
No, it wasn't closing over that high.
It was
like closing over 47, wasn't it?
Was it 47.25?
I think it was 47. You're making me look really silly there, because it was trading like 47 in the pre-market. And it ran up. It did. It ran up, and it didn't close over it, though. So I should have been selling to you right on the open. I should have said opened over that number, not closing over that.
Wait, I can't. How long ago was that? Because I remember I looked at it.
I'm pretty sure it was on the big bar when the stock got over $50. Maybe it was 49. Maybe it was trading 50 in the pre-market. I'm not sure. It was, yeah. I went with the momentum, and it came in. You know what? The contrarian. This is a good example. Joel's won the last two bets on. Joel always bets contrarian.
That's always.
He's the contrarian guy. He is. And you know what? I was burning you for a long time on the bets. And you know what? You've been beating me lately. You know why? Because contrarian bets have been working. The contrarian. Look at this. We've been talking about how much Momo's been on the show, but look what we just discovered. The contrarian has been making money lately. The one that's been fading these pops or fading these drops. They've been making some money on some stocks lately.
All right. And no, Matt, Ben, it was not a steak dinner on that one. I cannot get him to do a steak dinner. But all right. Anyways, it's 8:19. Spoos are just hanging out. Down 3/4 of a point. Where's mid-range here? Right at mid-range. Real quiet session here. Let's keep with the analyst theme since we started with that. We did the Micron. Who else?
Let's go to the Snapster.
Oh, the Snapster.
SNAP. This one is chasing price too. And, I'm just, again, glad. This is why when it's a swing trade, cut the loss. Best loss. It feels like a winner. When you only lose 50 cents on a stock you're dead wrong on, and it goes down 40%, it feels like a winner. And I know I lost 50 cents on my Snap swing trade, but just because I didn't get stuck holding the bag, it feels like a winner. The stock is now $9.38, an epic disaster here. And I don't know, obviously the social media stocks are not in favor here right now. We've seen what's happened to Twitter. We've seen what's happened to Facebook, although we'll talk about those in a second, because I think those might have put in a short-term bottom. But this SNAP hasn't put in a short-term bottom, apparently, because it has now taken out the lows. Spencer Israel, who is the analyst that is ganging up on it this morning?
Well, yesterday we had Wedbush upgrading it. Pactor upgrade to outperform yesterday. Today we have BTIG's Rich Greenfield downgrading Snapchat to sell. Mm-hmm. So hopping on the train here, that's a number. Yeah. Just in the last 4 months or so, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6, 7 major downgrades in Snapchat.
there's a lot of stuff for them to figure out here, and they haven't figured out any of it, and they're now out of favor. The one thing that was going was for them, obviously, was, so for a while, social media was just in favor, and it's not. And this is a stock that hasn't made money ever, or have they made money? Have they ever made money? Have they ever had a profit quarter?
I don't believe so. And I saw a stat the other day. It was it was a chart of the top executives at the time of the IPO and who's still left. And there's like 3 of them out of like 9.
It's tough. Stock is completely out of favor. Never has made money. I mean, this is one that I'm just, I'm out. And I like I said, I put it on for a swing trade because I like the chart. It wasn't, and that's the difference. You've got to have your time horizon in mind. When I put on Micron, I'm more comfortable holding that because I feel like there's value here. I mean, this company makes money. Even when the DRAM cycle goes down, I feel like it's still not going down to where it came from. And I feel like, there's value there where, you put on a Snap, what do you got? I mean, it doesn't make money. You're trying to, so that's why you got to have your time frame in mind. Put it on for a swing trade because I like the chart. Had nothing to do with the fundamentals. Fundamentals of the company still not doing well.
Eclipsing the all-time low, which was made just 2 days ago at 9:55. We are trading at the lows of the session in the pre-market. 9:36 is your pre-market low, trading 9:37. So continuation through that, all-time low, the only number I could give you is a nice round number of like $9. And Dennis, you remember when you sold the all-time low on this one? You're looking like that was a while ago. That was back in August of
it wasn't I sold it.
August of 2017 when you made that 1128 print. I know you tried long since then, but $9. I mean, I never really understand it. I mean, Spencer, do you use Snapchat? I know we ask you this every time. You use that?
Yeah, I don't use it as much as I once did, but for a while there, it was a text message replacement for myself, but not so much.
You send pictures, right, with that?
Yeah, or messages.
Messages.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it's fine. It is what it is.
All right, Dennis, you wanted to mention some of these other social media stocks showing some sign of life. Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter and Facebook. I think they both put in double bottoms. See what I'm looking at there, Joel?
Yeah, I do. And the Twitter, wow, got under $30, $29.82, $29.95. Buyers have stepped up here, trading down 30 cents in the pre-market, 36 cents. I mean, you can lean on that for a swing trade. You're definitely going against the short-term trend in this one. We'll see what Sean has to say when he comes on at 9:15. You're trading at yesterday's, just above yesterday's low, 30.35. So see if that $30 level is protected. Again, very light volume day yesterday. Only 16 million shares have traded on an up day. So that is not a good sign here for Twitter. And also, this is a buck lower than the former low of the move, 31.07. So if you're waiting to buy this on strength as opposed to weakness, maybe if you could clear that old double bottom from the end of July, get a little bit more momentum to the upside.
Also, from the analysts here this morning, like I said, they were busy. We've got Alcoa AA getting upgraded at B. Riley. We've also got Tiffany's, and we should talk about this one. TIF catching an upgrade at Oppenheimer. I mean, this is a retailer that has been in favor for a long time. It's pulled back off the highs. Get some life here this morning from Tiffany's. Could this, spark it up to the 130 area? Like not today, but do you think like this could get a kick started for the next week or two for potential 130 play?
If another analyst comes out tomorrow with the same same rating,
if there's more chasing, how much of these moves? And this is something we didn't talk about yet, but we talked about on the pre-market show. If you could extract all the analyst action from a specific stock, and I mean use Micron as the example, because if we would add any analyst commentary from the last couple of days, Micron would still probably be at $45, but it gets 2 downgrades and it knocks it down to $41.87. I mean, if you could back up all of the movement from analyst action, where would stock prices really be? So all I'm saying, and my point to this is that a lot of your stock market moves are just from analyst action. It's amazing, and you can do technicals and you can say anything you want. The chart is, dictating this, but a lot of moves come just because an analyst upgrades or downgrades a stock. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see it like with the Micron when that was running up. How high did that get, man? That thing got to over $60, didn't it? And everyone was calling for 100. 64, 66 was the high of the move. I mean, it'd be a tough study to do. I guess you could just.
I don't know how
do
you
it.
do it.
Yeah, I just don't know how you would. Because like, what if like two come out on the same day? Does that have more significance? But just real quickly to the Tiffany chart here. I remember when that thing had that big run after earnings. Now it's pulled back. Don't know, light volume here. You do have a little bit of a seller in the pre-market trading. We're trading at 125 even, very little volume, 125.40. I think what I'd be more interested in this one is if I could get a pullback to the old triple top there at the 124.51 to 80 level. Old resistance could be new support in here. So I think I'd be a little bit more interested in buying it on the cheap than chasing it here. 126.59. You have not hit that level. That's been your high since August 30th. So there's another target on the upside for TIF.
Let's jump over last rating. Actually, now let's move away from the ratings here for a second. Lots of other news here too. Go to Gilead here because they had a drug, and this is also with stock GLPG, which is up enormously here. Give us the drug news here. Gilead getting a huge pop, 4% pop, and obviously the smaller company GLPG, who was partnering on this drug, up 15% here this morning. So it's not all bad drug news here today. Spencer, what was this drug and why the stock?
I'm tracking it down. Give me 1 second. Do the chart first, and I'll get the headline.
Okay, so let's go to Gilead first because it's a more widely traded stock. It's getting a nice lift here this one, trading the 75 handle.
Move.
I tried to buy this last night on this drug news, and I think it's an arthritis drug, but it had to pay up $1, and I didn't feel like paying up $1 for it. Obviously, I should have because it's up 3 now. But anyways, the stock is lifting big time here.
Oh, I got the news now. Sorry, I didn't realize it was yesterday. I thought I was looking at this.
Last night, after the bell, right after 4 o'clock.
Yeah, they announced, Falgotinib. I'm gonna pronounce that. Hope I got that right. Sorry to the drug if I didn't. Met its primary and all key secondary endpoints in its phase 3 study in rheumatoid arthritis.
And obviously, we already talked about Gilead with the big pop. Joel, the only thing and the concern for me here is overhead supply.
Yeah, and it's clearing a double top here that you had just from a few sessions ago, 74.66 and 74.64. So, I mean, as long as it stays above that area, I mean, you have to be favoring the long side here. You do have a high in the 75 handle that you want to take out, and that was 75.72. Your pre-market high is 75.51. So really got to take that, barrel into the 76 handle and keep on going. Very big move for Gilead. I mean, this is, 3, I can't remember last time it's had a 3-point move, but stay with the momentum. If this thing gets in the opens $75 and just keeps barreling, just, make sure if it comes back down to that opening price that you're aware of it.
I'm a fader of the pop.
Yeah, I think I
want to know why, because biotech's starting to roll over here too, and it's fading into it. I think it's giving me a nice opportunity. Celgene looks awful here now. I own Celgene in the investment portfolio, but it's got the head and shoulders. It took out the neckline yesterday, starting to break down. Biogen is looking like it's ready to fall off a cliff. Look at the BIIB chart, Joel. That looks like it's ready to fall off a cliff to me. I know Amgen's been the one. Amgen's been great, and it still actually looks pretty good. IBB itself is starting to leak here. Even XBI is starting to leak here a little bit too. So now you get a nice big 3-point pop right into resistance here on good drug news for Gilead. I think 75 to 76. If I was in this, I'd be lightening up, and I actually am looking at this from the short side.
Definitely. I mean, you have your resistance. The first thing you want to keep an eye on is that pre-market high, as I mentioned, 75.72. And then GLPG? That was the one.
That's the other drug involved. And this is a different story, smaller company. So the drug obviously is going to impact it more. You're trading right up near the all-time high. You got up to 121 back in February. We look like we might kiss that today.
Yeah, 121.09, and your pre-market high is at 121.19.
These things work.
Yeah.
These old highs work.
But, you're holding in here and you've held, someone has a bid here and they're holding this above 118. So as long as we hold 118, it's a buck a quarter away. Look for maybe a test of that all-time high under 118. I mean, you could find some 15-minute lows in the 117 handle, but a lot of air. And wow, what was there news? Is this like an ADR? Oh, it's an ADS because
Yeah, it's an ADR. So it's active overseas right
but
now.
someone
This is an
had
active
that.
market.
I mean, this thing was 92.55 4 sessions ago. You closed yesterday at 102.74. Boy, oh boy, we didn't get the memo on this one, Dennis. It traded heavy volume yesterday too, from 89,000 up to 279,000. So bought this a few days ago in the 92 handle. Now you're staring 120 in the face. I'd be tempted to ring the register too.
Big move here for it. So that's the new drugs. And let's go look at the Biogen chart one more time because I commented on it. I want to get your thoughts here too. I just look at it here. Does that not look, and I own this in my investment portfolio, but I'm sticking with it. I'm in from 48 bucks. So I think I'm going nowhere. What are your thoughts on Biogen, at least short term? Because that looks heavy.
I hadn't taken a look at this chart in a while. It had the big pop on the drug news and earnings and then gap down. I mean, the fact that you're in this area and you're not bolting out of it is, I mean, it's just looking heavy. I'm not sure what the catalyst is going to be to take it down. 336.27. That was your low from a couple days ago. I think you really got to look out if you take out 331. Parallels right under that 330.96 and 330.90. And then you get into that whole gap area and you got a big old gap down to 299.73. But the fact that we're just kind of, we're here and we're not bouncing out of here. Several times we have bounced out of here. And now, with the sector out of favor, I'd be looking for a potential gap fill in this one. That'd be all the way down to $300. It takes a while, but a lot of times they do fill these gaps.
We got a couple requests from the chat. I know we're going to get to these after 9 o'clock as well, but let's start with George here, and let's look at a couple. Goose, Goos, and let's also look at Race he wants to look at. So two different companies, but two stocks that had a lot of momentum back in the summer. They've kind of stalled here a little bit, no pun intended on Race, but I don't know. What do you think of Ferrari? I mean, this is straight up for 2017, straight up for the first half of 2018, and now we're cooling off a bit. But it had a good day yesterday. It's up here again this morning, 131. I would just say 135 looks like major resistance to me.
Yep. Major resistance. This stock is off its all-time high. Boy, this has performed a heck of a lot better than a lot of your automotive stocks. I mean, even though it's had a pullback, major support. I don't know if we're going to see it today. Under at 126. Trading at the highs of the pre-market. Well, the high of the pre-market session was 131.79, but it's hard. You are trading an ADR here. You want one more target or two more targets, 132.89. That's a couple bucks away. And then Dennis mentioned that double top right under 135 at 134.61 and 66. And then the Goose, that stock ran up, made an all-time high. We're flat on the session. Man, oh man, you had the recent run up to 61.33. I call it 61 major resistance. If you can get above that, we have a chance to go back to the all-time high.
You put it on a weekly though, and it's still holding trend, and there's still that uptrend. It looks like it's doing work. So you know what? If I was looking at this and not from a fundamental basis, but just from pure technicals, I would think higher as opposed to lower. So I think you could see 65 on this again in the near future. So it's got some momentum going now. I don't know. Ron Bird was from their chat saying there's news here today. I didn't see what the news was, but the stock's got some momentum.
Yeah, those coats
again.
They're really
a little bit right now.
They're really expensive though, aren't they? Aren't they like $1,000 or something, Spencer?
Well, me and you are never going to own a Canada Goose coat. And like I said, I can just go out and look at my lawn at the cottage, and there's a lot of Canada geese out here. I could probably just collect the feathers all off of my, make my own coat.
The only news I see on Goose is from yesterday that they're opening another manufacturing facility. That's all. That's the only news I saw. So I'm not sure what else there is out there.
Major support. I mean, we are $5 away from that, but you made a double bottom, or actually a double bottom, just under $55 at the 54.60 area. Just, I don't know. I mean, overall, I mean, you came off the highs, then you had a rally, then you came down, you made another new low for the move. And I don't know. We'll see if it really catches wind here. Dennis, you did mention or the $61 level, pair of highs up there. It's only $1.50 away.
Let's talk Apple stock.
Okay.
Incredible move yesterday. I mean, everybody in the chat, I know there was a few people who were buying that pullback in the chat. We were talking, I wish I would have bought it like for a swing trade. I obviously own my best portfolio. I wish I would have bought it yesterday at the close, or 2 days ago at the close. I bought yesterday at the close. So I did sell it already this morning. So I did get a buck here because I like owning it before the event, but I should have bought it the day before. You could have been buying the 216, 217 at the 5-point run up intraday. So incredible move there, run up intraday into today's event. Now, after the event here, it's a wild card. I mean, sometimes these things go up, sometimes these things go down. I tend to think if you're not talking the event at all, you're just looking at technicals here, had a big move up, now come down. Now it gets a lot of those losses back quickly. I think there could be some people who are willing to sell after the event, but let's see what they announce. Obviously, fundamentals we're gonna get some more fundamental information, and that trumps all technicals. But if I was a gambling man, I think I'd be selling into the pop here today.
Aren't they coming out with a more expensive watch, a bigger and more expensive watch, right? Or I don't know if it's bigger, but I thought I saw.
I mean, it's an updated version of the watch.
Okay.
The big story is going to be the phones. They're supposed to offer.
I meant the phone.
Yeah. They're supposed to offer a more expensive phone. I
heard like $2,000.
Well, they're supposed to release several new phones. One more expensive version of the iPhone X, one cheaper version of the iPhone X. Those are like the two that there's like the most consensus on. And then there's other stuff as well. But the iPhones are gonna lead the day.
I mean, it's all an iPhone company. We know it's over half of its revenue, but there is some stuff that they're cooking up there too. We know they're going to be involved eventually in AI. We know they're going to be involved in a lot of other things here. So a lot of smart people working there. That's why I stick with it long term. One thing that is scary here, this has been an incredible run for a huge company. And I know on CNBC Fast Money, and I know we've been looking at it as well. There's trading, at over 20, 22 times earnings here now, which is typically high for Apple. So its valuation is stretched here right now. It typically trades 12, 13 times, 14 times, and we're trading up. I don't know where it is now going forward. Maybe it's a little less than, maybe it's 19 or 20 times, but it's towards the upper end of valuation. So if you're buying it here now, you're buying a fully valued Apple. So can it, expand the bottom line to continue to go up? Sure, it can, and probably will. And that's why I'm still sticking with it in my long-term invest portfolio. But if I had this on for a trade, I don't think I'd want to hold it in the event.
Yeah, get a lot of action, sometimes disappointment. I mean, obviously, anybody buying it into this run caught the double bottom at 216.50. That was actually, you had a chance to do that yesterday as well. It's just, there's a seller here in the 225 handle. And as you can see on the 15-minute chart, just bumping up against, 225.20, 225.30. We're 50 cents away from there. So really, you got to take that out in order to have a continued momentum. That coincides with your 3-day high of 225.37. So if you're looking for more upside here in Apple with the SPOOs only down a quarter, your biggest component here, really got to take out that pre-market high, 225.37. And then you could come and look at a couple other daily highs, 27.35, all-time high at 29.67. The other number I like to keep an eye on, besides the all-time high, where more your institutions are looking, the all-time closing high is 228.36. We're $3 away. And you mentioned, they're a phone company, but I mean, they're building up their services too, Dennis. And the other thing too, and I think someone mentioned it here about glucose monitoring. When Apple does glucose in a watch, it'll be big. I think that I don't think it's a flying car. I don't think it's an electric car. I mean, I think it's health. I think that's what they're taking their time going into. I think something that Gene Munster, who's been on the show, has reiterated. So, if they come out with something health related to the watch, I have to agree with George there. That could be big. Health is important.
Spinner was talking Schlumberger, asking if anybody likes it here. I kind of do like it here. I don't know. I as a trade, And if it took out the lows of 59 a quarter, that would be my stop out here now. But I kind of like the trading action from the last couple of days. It's showing some life, and also Halliburton moves very close with that. And both of those look like they kind of washed out a couple of days ago. When Halliburton got down to 35.75 and then turned around and closed actually strong, I like those reversal days there. And I actually like both of these charts. Halliburton's already trading up here this morning. It was positively featured on CNBC last Monday, which is helping it out. Full disclosure, I've actually got a little short position because I thought it was a little overdone, but that's just overnight. So I'm literally talking against my book here because I actually like this chart here right now. I'm going to be covering the Halliburton here this morning, but I might even flip to long. We'll see. But HA on SLB, I kind of, and I have it on for a pair trade too, but I kind of like both these charts right now. Stopping out at the recent lows though.
Yeah, big resistance is 61. So you got 3 of your last 4 highs right around 60, 80 to 61. You know what? I just don't understand. I mean, this stock with it's oil company, right? Oil services company, and oil's had this kind of rally.
Oh, they haven't. I mean,
this thing bottom.
Schlumberger, BHGE, and Halliburton have not participated. I mean, Halliburton and Schlumberger have been in a slump.
Look at that. I mean, the lower
they
the
have
move.
not participated.
When oil was at $25, 59.60 in January of 2016. Oil's rallied $45,
and they haven't participated.
And so what's going to be the catalyst?
You're buying weakness.
Yeah,
you're definitely buying overall weakness. I like them not, and I'm not putting these in my long-term investment portfolio here for the exact reason that you just said it, Joel. I mean, these things, even though they look cheap, there's some reason, obviously, that these things just, maybe we don't follow the oil services sector close enough to know why, but these things have not participated in the overall rally with oil. That being said, though, I think they both capitulated 2 days ago, and I think there's some life here. I think Halliburton has room to 40. I think Schlumberger has room. I don't know if it's going to see 65 here again, but 62, 63. I like them for short-term trades. Stopping out, though, got to have your stop. Takes out 59 a quarter, I want no part of it. So if I'm buying it at 60.50 or 60.60 or 60.70 here this morning, I'm going to risk $1.50. I want a 3-to-1 risk reward. Put 3 points on it. I almost need to be up like 63, 64. I don't mind the risk reward here on these, but don't, if they take out the lows, I'm out.
Yeah. And Hal the same way here. I mean, that thing is just, that was that's showing a little bit better relative strength here. The low when oil was bottoming out was 27.64. So, I mean, I guess of the two, and did they make a big purchase a while ago, right when oil was like 80, $90? Was it them? Did they do a merger? Did that get called off? I'm trying to think. I remember Baker Hughes, but that was with GE.
Yeah, well, Baker Hughes got bought off by GE, and then GE spun off BHGE or whatever. And I don't know. It's all just kind of all over the place here. I can't figure it out either. But
Halliburton.
I don't know if Halliburton did anything. I don't remember.
Halliburton and Baker Hughes had a deal that was called off. Had a merger agreement that was called off. That's what that was.
When was that?
That was May of 2016.
Wow, I don't remember that at all.
Time flies.
Wow.
Time flies.
Time flies. 2 years ago, can't remember. Sometimes I can't remember what I did yesterday. I guess so. 2 years ago, who knows?
All right.
Jump over here. Sean's coming on at 9, right?
9:15. 9:15.
Okay, so we didn't even forget about Sean because somebody was just asking me. Sean coming on here. He is coming on here, but we're going to get him after 9 o'clock. So you're still stuck with me for another 15 minutes here. Let's talk AMD. CEO comes on CNBC, Fast Money, or on Kramer last night. And interesting enough, sometimes you see these things pop when they go on this. This was dropping, and I don't know what she was saying on Mad Money, but it actually came on. It was 30.10. It was trading flat. Actually, it was up a little bit because they had indicated that he was going to be coming on CNBC. It was up at 30.11, 30.12, and then it started to fall on the interview, which is kind of rare to see with the Kramer there last night. I mean, this chart here still looks good. I mean, unbelievable that the chips and the semiconductors in such shambles, and the stock just keeps going up. It's its own stock. It's doing its own thing. It is totally now just a MOMO fear. It's a FOMO play, fear of missing out. And people are just jumping in here because they think this is, now going to take over everybody's business, apparently. I mean, Intel, everyone's in the gutter except AMD. I'll tell you, if I had this long term, I would be ringing the register. But that being said, the momentum is still on its side. Although today I don't like the trading action. And you know why? Because positively featured on Kramer last night. It takes out the 30. It goes up and breaks out there yesterday. And we look at this for a lot of times, breaks out and looks good. Everybody's playing it for the breakout here right now. But this looks like a classic setup where the breakout could end up becoming a fake out here. So I'm somewhat concerned here about AMD. Technically, it looks good. I'm just worried if this thing starts to breach and starts to go down like 29.70, 29.60, if it can't get back up over 30 and hold it, I'd be very scared on this stock owning it long. Now, goes up, makes a new high, continues the party, sure. And maybe if you're shorting the thing, stop out at the old high, 30.59. You've got it out. So if it starts going 30.70, my thesis is wrong. But I think this breakout could become a fake out. So I'm actually interested in this from the short side with a stop above the recent high at 30.59.
Boy, highest level since June of 2006 when you hit 31.92. And what I would look here, you had your high close of the move yesterday, right? At 30.10. So that's above the $30 number. Let's see if people reload at 30. I mean, this thing trades a lot of volume. There's a lot of, a lot of open interest out there. There's a lot of people sitting on a lot of profits. They got taken out. They looked bad at 30 yesterday when it went to 30.59. But let's see if they just keep reloading here at that area. And I'd be focusing on 30.
And by reload, you mean they might sell some more.
Yeah. Yep.
They might not be done there. Even though it takes out 30, sometimes those institutions come back and say, you know what? This thing's ran from 20 to 30 in 2 weeks. I mean, it went up 50% here in 2 weeks. This isn't like a little, flying growth stock. AMD, it's been a company that's been out there for 25 years. I mean, are they going to grow earnings that fast? Maybe, because they never make money. So I guess you can grow bottom line pretty quickly when it's zero and you all of a sudden make a dime. But it's a FOMO stock. It's been going up just on pure momentum. It's basically doubled since July. I would totally be running the register here right now. But again, it's a little tricky to short. I might play from the short side here, but I'm going to stop out about 30.59. And sometimes, these things work out. I mean, Nike, I took a lot of heat when I was saying on the Nike that I would be buying that pullback. And people in the chat were not liking me on that one. Tell you, I got that one right. Sometimes I'm going to get them right. Sometimes I'm going to get them wrong. But Nike never breached that 79. It was the absolute low. Came right back, 83.58. It was a gift. It was a gift when it was down 3 points, just because they had that marketing campaign, like it or hate it. It shouldn't have been down 3 points on that. And it's come right back.
I think Spinner was in your camp. I think we were pretty split on that one. I mean,
there was a couple people that would give me heat. I even had a Twitter, somebody tweet at me saying, no, I think I'm in trouble. And there was, I took at least a couple people were giving me heat on that. I don't remember who it was, but
Dennis,
I got that one right. So, broken clock tells the right time twice a day. I'm going to get some right. I'm going to get some wrong. But anyways, I got that one right. I'm playing AMD. The reason I bring that up is because I'm pretty much guarantee you I'm going to get some heat here for saying that I'd be sure, I might play AMD from the short side here today. People are going to say you're short in the rocket ship. You're wrong. And I might be wrong, but you know what? I'll have a stop. And if I'm wrong, I will stop out. And if it starts making new highs, I will definitely stop out and admit I'm wrong. But risking 2% here, I think, if I risk 70 cents here, and I feel like my thesis is that I think the breakout might be a fake out. So I have a thesis here. I think it could fall $3-4.
Yep.
So so I'm looking at it risk reward. I risk a buck here, maybe. Maybe I give up to 30.90 even. So I risk $1 here right now. I think there's three points to chew on the downside. Maybe it's going to be down 25, 26. If the FOMO money comes out of it, that's where it could get interesting. And you've got a lot of people playing that breakout yesterday. And now that it gets featured on Mad and on Mad Money last night, the CEO comes on there and it's not trading higher. Maybe blame the market here, maybe blame other semis, but it's been doing its own thing forever. I would have thought, after being featured on Mad Money, it'd be up another 50 cents or a buck here today. And it's not. And telling me it's a little bit heavy here.
Double close too, right at this area. 29.89 was your close on Monday. 30.10 was your close in yesterday. So let's see, maybe get an inside day here. I mean, I did and like you talk about trades that turn out to be good trades, even though they were losers. When you had that spike up to 27.30, and then you came back down, you just consolidated, right around with all those closes around 25.20. I was just like, man, this is, I did have some puts in it. I think they were like 24.50s on like only a buck away. If it could do $0.75 away, this thing can go. And the consolidation just turned out to be a move higher. So let's see if you get another consolidation, make 30 the battleground, and see. And And who knows? Goldman Sachs may downgrade it for like the 47th time.
Is Goldman negative on this?
I tell you, I mean, you talk about,
Are they negative on this?
Spencer, you want me to pull
What's
it
a
up?
Goldman rating?
I wish we could pull up our ratings by just the firm, but
well, you can.
We can.
You can?
You can, yeah. So we're
Yeah.
looking at.
Benzinga Pro, get that Pro. He'll tell you right now
All
what
right.
the rating is on it. Are they a sell on this?
I'm scrolling down here. We're looking at AMD.
Yeah.
We have the most recent rating I have on AMD from Goldman was from August 10th. It was actually an upgrade to neutral.
Oh, so they've been neutral.
$21 target there. And
that was a good upgrade though. So they got themselves to neutral. They were at sell before that.
Yeah.
They were at sell for
but that's good timing though. August 10th, that was right before the move, Joel. So that's pretty good move by Goldman. I mean, it was $19 then that day. So they saved you. When they went to neutral, they said, "Don't if you're sold."
But I think they were negative. I don't know. We'll have to
negative before that. They were at sell. But I'm just saying. So
yeah,
they got it wrong for a little bit. At least they got out in time to get to neutral, 19 to 30. So they didn't take heat on that recent move.
Okay. So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens at $30 level.
And they would be trying it from the short side today, stopping out above 30.59.
Dennis, when you talk about these positions so much, I get nervous because it's just like
I know.
You're talking to your side and like I don't know. We'll see what
it's probably going to go to 30.60 and then stop me out, and then it'll tank 4 points. And I'll be like, what?
169 thrown in here. Nike has reported a 31% increase in online sales since is that old news?
Yeah, that was from last week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. SPOO's beginning to weaken here a little bit, down 275. Remember, you got your rollover coming up. I mentioned that. So that's where you go from your September contract to your December contract. If you are long to September, you need to sell that and buy the D's. Conversely, if you're short to SEP and you want to roll it into a D's, you got to buy your SEP and sell your D's. So there's a lot of spread trading going on today. So kind of create some air pockets here in the SPOOs today. Nice 9-point range overnight. I'll be using those overnight parameters for continuations of the move. And we're kind of barreling down here on that pre-market low. Do we cover all of our stocks here that we wanted to cover on the pre-market show, or what do we miss?
Do you want to talk about Sprint? There was a headline here that caught my eye. I think it had recovered this morning. It was down when I checked a couple hours ago.
Last night it was down a bit.
Yeah, but the headline did come out yesterday after the close that the FCC is hitting the pause button on their review of or on their clock, really, while they review the Sprint T-Mobile merger. It's going to take more time than the 180-day transaction window to approve it. So they're hitting pause on the clock, and it is in review, I guess, indefinitely now.
I mean, if you're in this for the merge, this has been a deal. It's not going to be a deal. It's going to be a deal. It's not going to be a deal. I mean, tomorrow they come out, it's not going to be a deal. I mean, it's so hard to let's be playing this for this. There's been so many different headlines on this, driving up 10%, down 10%. So traders are just starting to ignore the news because you're not seeing the moves nearly as extreme there. We don't know if it's going to get taken over. It's not going to get taken over. I mean, I'm just done with this story. It's been going on for like 2 years, I feel like.
Yeah, look at that. T-Mobile has been really tight. I mean, the Sprint's a $6 stock's really not much to comment on that. But just if you're trading this TMUS, you've had that big run up. I don't know if that was from the merger or earnings, and it's just been hanging out. I mean, the low since making that high was 64.07. You're $2 above that, but you've been in a trading range between 64.07. 64.06 was a low on August 10th, and the high of the range has been 66.64. So you've been in a tight range here for a long period of time. Let's look for either a breakdown or a breakout here in T-Mobile, which has performed pretty well this year compared to some of the other telecom stocks.
Let's go look at imbalances quickly. Every single day. Another 119,000 shares to sell here this morning. I know it got a little pop right after hours, said they were going to sell something, or there was interest in one of their units there. All those pops are just sells. It seems like the stock can't get out of the gutter. I don't know what it's going to take, but we don't even talk about it on the show here anymore. It's just been dead money for so long there. I'm glad I'm out of it. Sorry, Spencer. I think you're still in. Let's look at the banks here. What's going on? The banks are hot here this morning. Citigroup trading up over $1 here. You got a headline there for me, Spencer?
Yes, I do. There is a conference, the Barclays. What is the conference? The Barclays Financial Services Conference is going on right now. The Citi CFO was up. I don't know if he's still up, but he was speaking about a half hour ago there, and he said he gave some good comments there. He said that, what did they say? He just gave some good guidance numbers. And by like long-term guidance, like 2020 guidance he was talking about. But they could save money by fiscal year 20. Their cost savings could go from $2.5 billion to $2.8 billion. He just gave some good commentary.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for Citi. What else is up? Because I don't know who else has spoken this morning. I've been trying to.
Goldman straight up $1.21. And it was up a little bit more than that, but I'm seeing so those are the two that are jumped. JP Morgan's up 38 cents, but it's always interesting. The TLT is trading higher here as well, which sometimes the banks can move opposite to that. So it's always interesting when the banks are getting a lift and the TLT is showing strength too. So I guess because that conference is going on.
Yeah.
Citigroup up $1 is really the one that stands out to me.
Yeah, Citi. The other presenters include American Express, Discover, Allstate.
But TLT's up. I don't know why. I'm not thinking here this morning. TLT up's usually good with the banks.
All
right. Which one? Let's just take that. When I talk about these banks, I have to look at the Bank America because that's your most heavily traded, and just in a trading range too. Not really going anywhere since you had that sprint. Where did you get up to? 31.91, and then I believe it came off earnings. Just trading range in this from 30.62 to 31.24. And that has been for your last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sessions you've been in that trading range. So trade the range here in Bank America. I'm sure when we have a Fed meeting coming out or anything like that.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So waiting to see with the Fed. Some people are worried, with that hot number last Friday, the Fed may be a little bit behind the curve. So acceleration in interest rates would be good for the banks. But right now, real quiet here. SPOOs are moving in on the low of the pre-market session. We're down 3 points at 86.75. Your pre-market low, 86.25. Now, remember yesterday, we opened up, right? We made a new pre-market low. Never made a close above that pre-market low, and then it was off to the races. So we'll see if buyers step in here off the open. SPOO's down 3, and oil creeps back into the $70 handle, up 78 cents at 70.03.
We haven't talked it this morning yet, but the hurricane trade,
Okay.
It has been working to a charm for everyone. I mean, Home Depot continues. It's up here again this morning. Lowe's just blasting off here. GNRC cooled a little bit yesterday. It's trading up here again in the pre-market there. I mean, these have been big moves into this hurricane here. So just remember, and obviously we don't want to see a disaster. And if it turns out that it's better than expected, like meaning not going to be as big of a disaster as expected, those stocks will get hit. So right now, these stocks are getting priced in that everybody's going to have to rebuild everything there. And I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. We don't know that information yet, but it's a big move for Home Depot already. Last time, typically these things run up before the storm, and when the storm hits, it usually, hopefully, isn't as bad, and they come back and get back some of those gains. But you're still seeing the insurers getting whacked here a little bit, but nothing moving more than Home Depot and Lowe's. Everybody's just speculating that they're rebuilding everything.
Okay. Let's see. Just use your highs from yesterday. They did sell off. I think Generac had an upgrade maybe or price target raise.
I don't think I had anything.
No,
I was just trading up just because of the hurricane. And they sold it. And yesterday they sold it at least. It felt like a little bit of, here we are, $55, ran up to almost, it was 62 in the pre-market or something. And it never got there in the regular session, but things just get overdone.
You got a high from yesterday at 60.70. Also, so keep an eye. That's been the recent high. The move really inching up towards all-time highs. 60.99. That was your high in April of 2014, but the all-time high is 62.50. I know Home Depot and Lowe's were running yesterday, continuing to move. Home Depot is in the green here by 33 cents at 214.18. Oh, the target 214.66. That was yesterday's high. Lowe's, remember that reversal day that it had off earnings? That was a while ago. I think didn't it trade like $90 in the pre-market on that day, Dennis, and ended up going green.
Goldfish memory here,
Okay.
Joel.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't that. It was.
It was
deeper,
low.
Low was low, and then it turned around and just ran. It's been the gap and go, and it's still running here. So, anyways, you know what? This morning though, these things were way higher. Lowe's trade up to 115. Home Depot was trading in the 215 handle. They're starting to leak a little bit here. So, and maybe that's the overall market leaking, not helping it here, but. Let's keep an eye because there's a lot of fluff in here in the last week when Home Depot goes from 200 to 215 in 6 trading sessions. There's a lot of air below. So just a little bit of caution. We'll see what the storm does, though.
All right. Lowe's is opening right into your high from yesterday, which was your all-time high, 114.53. Also posted its all-time closing high yesterday at 114.18. So that's a relevant number here. So, all right, Triple D, we kept you here a few minutes over. So we will we'll let you go unless you got any closing thoughts on the market here.
No, ask Sean about AMD. I want to get his thoughts too because I'm going to be listening. So that's my only request is ask Sean about AMD because I've actually just started initiating a little bit of a short. I'm just slowly going to build it there. But again, stopping out above 30.60. See if he likes that trade or not. If he says no, Denny, you're on the wrong side. I might just cover it. Sean's pretty good.
Yeah. And what I like about Sean is he combines, technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And
he's not afraid to make a contrarian call. He is a contrarian. I mean, I like that. Everybody just plays momentum all the time. Have some guts. Make a contrarian call every once in a while. And this one's a contrarian call for sure. See if Sean likes it.
And he also likes to do his own numbers and, come up. I don't know how the heck he does it, but, comes up with his own earnings estimates. And
he's a fundies guy.
Yeah, a fundies and a technical guy. So that's a tough combination here. So Dennis, if you want to pop in and yell at him or anything, then you could do that.
I'm listening. I'll be listening. So
okay.
Ask about AMD for me. I got to go though. So.
Okay.
All right, Joel, let's start off with, I went through the chat. I wrote down every ticker that
was
asked of us.
Good for you, man. I got some, and I can't even read my own hand.
All right, let's start with EA and AAPL.
Okay. And any news on this? I thought someone mentioned something with Fortnite or something. Or was there anything like EA? No? Okay.
There was... there was an investigation. That's right. In Belgium over EA's loot boxes, which is so criminal investigation going on overseas.
All right. EA. I mean, it had that bad news. It really has not been able to recover. Could have some institutional buying here. Just under 111. Let's just call it 111. If you're doing this for a swing trade, 3 of your last 5 lows have been right at the 111 area. So I will call that major support, low of the move, 110.53. If you're looking for a big rebound, you want to give yourself, a little bit beyond the low of the move at 110.53. Trying to trade up on the upside. I don't know if you could really say this stock has some room to the upside until you clear 116. You had 2 highs right at the 116 area on Friday and Monday, another high at 115.50. And then ATVI has been holding.
They also had news. ATVI. They announced they're releasing their essentially their answer to Fortnite. It's through their Call of Duty franchise, but they call it a Fortnite killer. Is what they call it.
Do you play Fortnite?
Nope, I don't play video games really.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get Nick on and talk about Fortnite. Great day yesterday. Tacked on over 5 points from 74.26 to 79.50. Continuing momentum here at 79.88, up 38 cents. Someone's trying to stop this thing at 80. Not a lot of volume is trading. So look through, follow through $80. My real area of interest, though, is a little bit higher in that. If this move is for real, 81.64. Is that your all-time high? Yeah, boom. 81.64. That was your high in July. That's the all-time high. So a much better performer here. You don't want to see this move stall, though, especially with everything going on in the sector. Trading up 38 cents. So keep an eye on the close if you're trying to protect profits at 79.50.
Somebody had asked if there was news in Funko. I haven't seen news on Funko.
Who asked about that?
Let me check
yesterday?
again, though. Who asked about it?
Someone asked about Funko and IMMU yesterday.
I don't remember who that was.
I
but yes,
think it was. If you're in a Google chat here, pop your head up. We'd like to acknowledge you. This one, and we talk about different technical levels. And you don't know what double top until after the fact. But if you were paying attention early in the session, the stock made this is a reverse splitter too, but just call the recent high of the move on the daily charts, 31.12. You had a 31.05 close, and it opened right. It looked like, to challenge 31. And then in a strong tape, an overall strong market, this thing went down nearly $6. You're getting continued follow through here today. I don't know if there's any news that is associated with that. Use yesterday's low as resistance here at 25.11 for a gap fill. And then continued downside here. You could see the lower 23 handle. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 lows right around 23.10. So there's some potential support in FNCO.
All right, and I'm going just back from the top of the show. So if you're putting tickers in the chat now, keep on doing it. We'll get to them eventually, but I'm going now from the top of the show down. There is some activist activity in ELF. Marathon Partners, who own about 8% of the company, 8.5% to be exact, they are pushing ELF to sell itself or cut costs.
Oh, boy, these activist things are tough here. I mean, obviously, talking their book here. Don't know how influential that firm is. Nice run up here. They must have been buying here since made a 9.30 low, trading up 36 cents. Big number for it is $14. 3 highs. We're flanking $14 back at the end of August and then early September. Clear that $14 hurdle, gap to fill 14.48. But you want to see follow through. You want to see this thing open up $13.70, $14, $14.10, $14.20, $14.30. Boom. You want to see the continued momentum in this one. Elf, is that a beauty supply company? Elf Beauty? Okay. Not that familiar with it in this area of the country.
Well, in this area of the country, yeah. Their retail stores, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And they're Elf.
Their products are everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When are you going into beauty stores?
You see it. You go through Macy's it's not that I've been in Macy's in a long time, but you go through the store, you see. Anyway, let's go to Fomex. They had some drug news yesterday after the close. Their drug for moderate to severe acne met the primary endpoints and demonstrated a highly statistically significant improvement in inflammatory lesions in a phase 3 trial. That is FOMX. It was halted. I guess it must have resumed, but that was the news from yesterday after the close on FOMX. And there we go.
Well, the good news is it's trading up $1.86 and 778. The bad news is that if you would have been up very early this morning, you would have had a chance to sell this in the $9 handle. $9.61 was your pre-market high, and now you've tailed off. So let's see here. Holds out $7.47. That was a low on your 8.30, 8.15, 8.30 bracket. So hold 750, got a chance. But boy, anybody that bought this thing on the initial pop, I mean, you could have bought it at $8 on the pop. But if you didn't get rid of it real quickly when that move up to 961, here you are underwater, under 750. You got a ways to go to fill the gap here. 609 was a high from yesterday. And boy, had good volume yesterday too. So not much of a move, but a big volume day. Anybody that bought the $6 area, see if they want to ring the register. Just don't like when you're $2 off the pre-market high.
All right, someone asking about Dave and Buster's. They have earnings coming up Friday before the bell. PLAY. Let's take a look.
The adult Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice run here in Dave and Buster's. Personally, I can't stand those places, but a lot of people do like it. I mean, you are forming some resistance here. 58.86 was the high of the move. You backed up, and just kind of feels like the institutions are really trying to pepper this thing over 58. If you did happen to pick this up at the end of July or early August here, and you're running into report, I think there'll be high expectations for them, and they really will need to blow it away, which is always a possibility. It's always, might be an idea to sell half of your position, or a Nick Shaheen favorite. A little stock replacement strategy. Take some of the money that you made and maybe buy some out of the call options, and inverse. Seeing inverse head and shoulders here. Yeah, a little bit. But I'd like to look just at the pure numbers here, and 58.86. That was the high of the move. And what else, Spencer? What's
Domino's?
DPZ.
Who was it? George wants to know if you should buy.
George is pounding the table. And George, you're new to the show. You're new to the chat. I asked you here how you found us, and I want to know how you found us and when you joined the show. Domino's. Well, is everyone that's not eating Papa John's pizza going to order Domino's now? You gotta level the lean on here. 286.17. That was your low from yesterday. Man, not a big pop. George, I don't know if you were talking about buying this yesterday, but it lost like $7 yesterday. It's just too close to that low of the move, 286.17. I mean, if you're looking at it, lean on that as support. Another daily low at like 285. I don't know, just not in love with this chart coming off the high. But as always, if you're looking at this, you do have an area to lean on. Going the opposite way too. This ended July at 262.66, and then got over $300 to 305. Maybe a better level if you're looking for this on a long entry. And this is a little bit longer term technical analysis, but you had a move from 254. I hope this is an easy number. Let's call it 305. 50-point move, add 25 on that. Maybe 279, 280 would be your 50% retracement. So that maybe be a little bit lower risk entry here in Domino's Pizza.
All right, then we'll get a couple more before we grab Sean. Let's go to Restoration Hardware, RH. They caught an upgrade Monday morning from KeyBank. Where are we, Joel?
They caught it with the upgrade yesterday or today?
No, Monday.
All right, and it didn't do much. Not much at all. It actually lost on an upgrade. It went from 126 to 124.12. I don't know what you want to take my opinion on the stock, because I've been bearish since like $50. So I don't know how valid my opinion is on this one. Trading down 11 cents at 124.01. You just got to keep an eye on 122. I mean, if you're trying this for a swing trade, 122.10. That was your low on the 6th, and 122.16 yesterday. So if you're looking for a rebound here from the 162.10 level, I mean, it's just not going to slingshot right back up there. I mean, you got a lot of people that did not sell it ahead of the earnings report. Wild range. It took them 1, 2, 3 days to get out. You do have a little bit of consolidation. So the longer you can get this 122.10 level to hold, maybe get a little bit of quiet consolidation and then a breakout at the top of the range. That'd be a best case scenario. I mean, even your 2-day high is 131.50 in Restoration.
All right, we'll do one more. Aurora Cannabis traded in the U.S. under the symbol ACBFF. They still have not reported their earnings for the July quarter yet. I expect that'll be sometime before the end of the month here. But ACBFF.
boy, these, I mean,
Pot
this
stocks.
is pot stocks. And trading up 12 cents here. This one has fallen back from the $12 level. Really like to see it's up 12 cents. I'd really like to see it clear 723. That was your August 23rd high. You're not that far away from there. That was also an area of contention back in early July. You had 5 highs right around the 7.25 level. So that's need for another leg up. And then I just talked to a buddy of mine that invested on a bunch of pot stocks and stuff, and he took out his original investment, and he said he's just going to hold the rest forever. So I mean, that's always something to do. It's always, when these stocks have these kind of moves, the momentum in it, sometimes it's good to ring the register. Sky High MD, I have no idea what to do in TLRY. Short or buy it. I could probably give you the right call, and it would probably have so much volatility, you could probably still end up losing money on it. Okay, let's dial up
Should
Sean.
we do it on the fly?
Sure. Yes.
All
And
right.
he's going to have a good greeting for us.
Let's do Sean on the fly. I hope he answers. If not, we'll have to take a break and call him back. But Sean Udall, Quantum Trading Strategies is the name of his firm. Sean, are you with us? Sean, you with us?
He knows a lot about computers.
I know he's here. Sean.
Testing 1, 2.
All right. We're good. We're good, Sean. How's it going?
No. Good morning, Benzinga.
Well, I had like a delay on my Bluetooth, so I wasn't 100% sure you were hearing me.
Well, how about now?
Good morning, Benzinga.
Okay, Sean. So I gave you a little break here because you're out on Arizona time, correct? So
Yeah, and pretty soon we're going to be switching to Mountain Time.
You love it.
Oh man, which is my time to shine.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of stocks that people, want to ask about here. But I want to do one here at the top of the show for Dennis here. And I got to get your thoughts on AMD.
Well, are you talking about the chip stock that might not be around? And well, they'll probably be around. It's a stock that was a lifeless, tough luck, hated stock for 15 years. And I guess it became a love stock. I've been looking at this one sort of as a potential, I call it's on my short radar, which means I basically get short at any time. I'm watching it. It's a long list of quite a number of stocks I'm watching for shorts. I actually think if you short it here and you won't get hurt if you stay in it. The trick is, does it do like a TLRY, and look like a good short at 88, but go to 100. So I guess if you're willing to eat some percentages, I think a short works from here. But I don't know. I'm not personally short it yet, but I could be any day.
Okay. All right. And before, and I probably should have asked you this first at the top of the interview, I said you combine fundamental and technical analysis here, and I don't want to give away the secret sauce here, but you actually derive your own numbers, your own evaluations on things. How did you acquire that skill? And it's something that you have to change and adjust to the market environment.
Yeah, well, you do have different parameters you have to use for different environments. And in fact, one of the things, you and I have talked about this, I think one of the things I could have done earlier or differently is I could have basically recalibrated my valuation models to re-rate things higher. But, I don't think anybody knew that we were going to start valuing stuff kind of like we were in the late 90s. So, and it's hard to predict that all of a sudden you're going to go from relatively rational valuation sort of ranges to, close to all-time high valuation. So that's something that's pretty hard to predict. But how I acquired the skill, I'm sort of, I guess you call it classically trained. I've got degrees in finance, and I think I was like 2 classes away from a double major in economics, and I knew how to do econometric models and things like that. So I'm well rooted in the math that you need for finance. But I worked in the industry. I worked for a couple of money management firms. I also worked, my last job was a fairly high-end risk management job, where one of the things I was basically charged with was doing risk management for a roughly $110 billion investment portfolio, about half of which was equity. So I was one of those quant guys who would build models of all sorts of things. But one of the things we would do is try to figure out, hey, what kind of derivative overlay strategies can you put on, this large equity portfolio to hedge risk? And so if you can model derivative strategies, you can pretty much model about anything. So and then if you can model risk management models, which take into account like what I call we call them generational scenarios. You're trying to model for, are you covered in case you get a financial crisis, right? So the particular company I was at went through the financial crisis very, very well, because they took they had appropriate risk levels, if you will, whereas a Lehman and a Bear Stearns were on the edge of those risk parameters. So but yeah, if you can kind of do that kind of stuff, modeling valuations for stocks is relatively easy work, to put it bluntly, I guess.
Okay, all right, let's move in. The chat is just popping here with some of your calls here. In the past, TT Mac, and I know TT Mac takes daily notes on the show, because he wouldn't have this kind of information if he didn't. I think he took a picture of his notebook once, and he said
TT Mac is on the task.
He is. He might be our most valuable PM peer. I think there's a lot of them. No,
everyone is equal in this
he
chat.
takes daily notes and it takes pictures of his notebook and posts it on Twitter. All right. I'm sorry.
Well,
I take that back.
Props to you. I
don't want to offend anybody. But he says, Sean, 1 year ago on 9/11/17, you said,
oh my God.
Okay, TA, interesting niche in security. As Palo Alto goes, the group goes. So, okay, TA.
Okta.
Yeah, 1 year later. Did you ring the register? You hanging on? What's your thoughts on it now?
Well, I actually have subscribers still in this name. In fact, this is one that my subscribers have done better than me, because my subscribers have done what I've said, and they didn't take the relatively easy money. I always say, if you trade for a living, you have to balance all the things you intellectually want to do with the fact that you have to pay bills every month, right? And I think people that trade for a living have built in things that they do where they just make themselves sell stuff, either whole positions or partial positions. And sometimes what that does is you'll get out of a position that you fully like, and really you don't want to be out of it, but you take yourself out of it.
Right? Better opportunity other places.
I was just going to say, you either think there's short-term money somewhere else, or you just think, okay, hey, this is going to pull back, and it's I'll be able to buy it 10-20% cheaper, blah blah blah. So I actually never like this. I put this on my top 20 list. I don't know, probably around the time of the IPO, to be honest, because I really like the name. But this is one of those ones. I think I had modeled this to go up to about 45, 48. I think that was sort of my upside price target, and it just blew through that. So I don't have a model to account for the price of where it is here, because I didn't re-rate my models to basically revalue everything 50 or 60 or 80% above sort of norms, right? And again, I can value growth stocks pretty darn liberally. So that's part of the reason I've been bearish on your show on other names that I think are egregiously overvalued. I do think this name is over its skis. There's no way I'd buy it here. I do have people who have trailing stops and have a lot of room on those trailing stops, so they might not get stopped out. This is a very similar stock to ANET. I did the same thing on ANET. That's Arista Networks, ANET. I think I sold that between 85 and 100, and it just kind of gapped and went. It never had a big enough pullback for me to get in. So sometimes I'll get out of a stock that I was very successful on. I mean, Okta, I did very well. I think I probably made 85 to 100% on this name, which isn't exactly terrible. But it's probably another double above where I sold it. So it does kind of hurt, but I'm glad that I have some subscribers that are still in it making money.
All right. Yeah, not all your calls, and not everyone's right 100% of the time. So Stock Hunter, is it Stock Hunter? He wants to know if you're still short Adobe.
I am. I actually am. I'm not down a ton on Adobe. And I actually want to stay short because every time we have a notable correction in tech, at least I get paid back from a portfolio standpoint. So I'm not saying that the position goes positive, but what happens is when my longs are taking pain, usually Adobe is red and going down. So it does serve to cushion the blow on those short burst down moves that we have. I mean, again, as expensive as I think Okta is, I think Adobe's way more expensive. I mean, this is kind of one of my stocks that I just think is so crazy that people have. It's like they're sort of ignoring everything that exists about the stock, and they're just looking at the chart. And by the way, we all know the same thing happened for about 18 months in 98, 99. People completely forgot about or ignored fundamentals for roughly a year and a half to 2 years. They just chased stocks. They looked at a chart, they looked at prices, and they said, and I had clients at the time, and then they said, well, I don't want to be in these names that aren't working. I want to be in names that go up every day. And so if your mentality was that you had to buy the stocks and put all your money in the things that were going up every day, you ended up losing about 90% of your money. So, I'm not going to be one of these guys who, again, has to lick my wounds and recovered 90% of my portfolio. So I think Adobe. Now I'm not saying Adobe's going to drop 90%, but again, this is an expensive stock at about 150. So it's just that much more expensive. And so like 99, the guys that said Yahoo was crazy at 150, they weren't wrong in the name when it was 285. They were right. They just the market just took that stock above crazy levels. And where did Yahoo ended up going? I mean, it probably went to, I think it went to $12 after it was 285. So the guys that said it was egregiously overvalued at 150 weren't wrong. They were right.
All right, let's get a couple ones in here. Spinner wants to know if you short Twilio. I know you had that on the long side.
I would say that's another one. Now this one, Twilio just was something I wasn't going to ride. I really like the price and the value of that. If you guys remember, I didn't really love that company. Like I never said Twilio was a mule or an Okta or a Coop or a Splunk or a Workday or anything. It was never one of those stocks, or Twitter. It was never one of my stocks I loved. I just liked the fact that the market took it from 50 to 25 or 27. And I thought there was a lot of value there. So this is another one that's basically doubled from where I've sold it. But I was never planning. I mean, that was always planned for me to be a kind of an aggressive trade and get out of it and move on. It's on my short list. I've not, this one I'm kind of like, it's like AMD. It's like, hey, if they're just going to keep pumping it up, I'm going to try to avoid it for as long as I can until everything in my system goes off. My technicals go off, my fundamentals go off. I dream at night that I'm shorted. I'm taking showers and I can't think about anything else except shorting, and I'm hitting golf balls and I'm thinking about shorting Twilio.
Okay, all right.
So
real
so
quick, we got
when
some
those
news.
things
I just
start
want to.
happening,
I want to pop in here real quick.
yeah.
More cigarette companies are spiking down here. The FDA is talking about pulling e-cigarettes. So yeah. So if you've been trading these stocks here, and you wondered why that negative price action here. Keep an eye on big tobacco here. Let's get a couple other here. We're coming up on the open. FireEye. I know you've been sticking with this one for a while. It seems like it gets these pops, investment with Google and one cybersecurity company that's kind of still in the doghouse. You're sticking with FireEye.
Well, I am, and it's largely because I've been able to make a lot of money on a lot of other things. So I can kind of fund the ideas that haven't really done much. You know what I would look at FireEye? Keep it real simple. If you draw a chart on this, it's in a really tight downward channel right now. That downward channel looks to me like it's going to break.
What
So
price? What price? Can you pull it up there?
About 1610. It looks like it will break. So I think a buy stop at 1610 or higher works. Then the thing basically doesn't have hardly any resistance until about 1950, and then above 1950, it's got a huge runway. I mean, it's got like a possibly like a 15-point runway. So, I mean, I'm personally just going to probably buy more above 1650, and then if it breaks 1950, I'll probably buy more above 1950. I'm not adding to this anymore. I mean, I will, like, I'm not adding to this name. So it's got to go up actually for me to add to it. But it's kind of like the opposite of Okta. I mean, FireEye's had a ton of good news. It just hasn't been rewarded with any upside performance.
Okay. All right. We'll just keep you on here for another minute or so. Just some action here. We talk a lot about pre-market highs and lows here. Your pre-market session was 86.25. We're trading right there right now. So if those buyers overnight are going to step up here and get us back to unchanged right here, 86.25. Unchanged on the session is 89.75. Pre-market high 95.25. Sean, before we let you go, just overall, thoughts on the market. I know it's a market of stocks, and you like to pick them out individually here. We tried to call tops. Oh, before that and Twitter. So just give us your overall market thoughts and then Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I think Twitter's one of the few stocks that I think kind of is acting naturally, meaning it's still kind of trading roughly how stocks trade. And I mean, I think they've overshot on the pullback, but I think the pullback on the report makes sense. Probably got a little over its skis at 46. I like Twitter here. I mean, put it this way: if people like things like Okta and Twilio and stuff like that. I mean, Twitter's got a lot of the fundamentals that those other companies have. And I mean, the biggest thing about Twitter, I'll say this: I don't know if I've seen a stock have this big of a sell-off and accelerating revenue growth. So, I think I said this before. I mean, 9 months ago, analysts had this latest quarter as a negative 5% revenue quarter for Twitter. And Twitter came in and produced 23% revenue growth. So I think that's kind of, again, I kind of look at reality. I don't sometimes worry about the price of a stock minute to minute and day to day. So I think the fundamentals exist that Twitter should be rising, not going down. I actually think, in fact, I made a call roughly the other day. I think all that Twitter needed to do is put a 29 handle on. And I think that could be an interim low. And it kind of did that. So far, it put in like, what was it, 29.88, 29.92, whatever that low was like 2 days ago. It hasn't really threatened it since. And like I say, I mean, I actually bought back all the shares I had sold a couple months ago. So I think there's a lot. I mean, again, Twitter's probably the most important AI stock on the planet, but doesn't get any credit for it. So AMD and NVIDIA get tons of credit for being an AI facilitators. Without Twitter data, most of these AI platforms wouldn't really work. So I think eventually, if Twitter ever gets its cred for being the best AI stock on the planet, who knows how high it could go.
Okay, and overall market thoughts.
I'm kind of bullish on certain stocks, and I'm kind of bearish in the market. I'm open to the possibility though that we could have some like Q4 craziness. So, because I mean, here's the thing: we're heading into another quarter. We're 2 weeks away from earnings reports again. The quarter should be pretty good. Again, I think a lot of the companies that reported big numbers last quarter will probably report big numbers this quarter. By the way, I also think a lot of the companies that didn't have such good reports, like maybe Facebook and Netflix, might not have that good of quarters again. But yeah, I still think like this will probably be one of these quarters where 85-90% of companies have roughly good to great reports again. And so, sometimes you get a year like this, it's just easier to melt stuff up through year end. I kind of feel like we're still got a kind of a meaty correction in front of us. But I think if we have that, I think that probably produces a recipe for either a big Q4 or big Q1. You know, at some point, we're just going to have to pay the piper, though. I mean, again, stocks I love are roughly 2x sort of my optimistic price targets. And pretty much every time I've ever seen a period like that, usually things take a header. I mean, spring of 2014 was just like this. You know, I loved Workday, loved Splunk, loved ServiceNow, loved, you know, ANET or whatever the hot IPOs were back then. They all kind of did the same thing. They all kind of went to about 1.5 to 2x where I thought they were going to go. And then, hey, we had a really, really big, nasty correction that cut almost all those stocks in half. Some of them quite a bit more than that. And so, you know, at some point we're gonna get kind of a reevaluation,
calibration.
What do you want to call it? Yeah, recalibration. You know, maybe that happens, you know, after the election. You know, who knows? I mean, it's hard to exactly get the timing, but I mean, put it this way, I don't think this is the place to be at this point where we are. You know, I'm trading smaller and my net positioning is lower. So my net long positioning is lower, but I still have plenty of longs. I mean, hey, if we keep going up and keep going crazy, I'll still have a very good Q4 and Q1. But I'm working more actively now to balance shorts against longs.
Okay.
I mean, I think that would be the best way to say it for me.
All right, we're going to let you go, Sean, here. The S&Ps did initially match that pre-market low and got a nice bounce here up, matched the close at 89.75. So someone wants out here unchanged. Not a lot of support here on the downside. Current pre-market low 85.25, but resistance standing at the closing price from yesterday. The low from yesterday way down at 67.25. So have to find some numbers ahead of that. Sean, we're gonna have to do this again. Thanks a lot for coming on. Chat was buzzing with questions and following up on your other calls. So we'll check in with you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Have a good one.
All right, Joel, is that going to do it for our show today?
Let's wrap it up. Just a little extended session.
Yeah.
Love your feedback in the chat. If you liked it, disliked it, like more, like less of us. We're trying to figure things out for you.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. A throwback extended edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. If you missed any part of our hour-and-a-half show, catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Google Play, or just watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/BenzingaTV. Thanks to our guest, Sean Udall. Thanks to all of you who joined us in our chat rooms on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Real quick before we go, all the information from our show is for informational purposes only and not meant to be investing advice. Hope you all have a good day and hope you join us again on Thursday.